Thursday, April the 2nd, 2009. Yesterday I heard on the radio a high-ranking officer, I might even call him a general, whose name was Thompson, I think, speaking on a local radio station. He told the world about what a wonderful job we, the Canadian Armed Forces, are doing in Afghanistan. He made the point that we are actually fixing up their dam near Kandahar, and we are providing them more and more water, clean, pure water. We're actually helping build schools and roads and health services and hospitals and all the things the people of Afghanistan will need, and we're going to win their hearts and minds. Rather, actually, we're going to bribe them with our money so they start to think like us. That's the ultimate goal, it seems to me. And the real tragedy of all that is that we're now not satisfied with building all their schools and roads and hospitals and water treatment programs. We're now going to decide what laws they have, because the National Post headline of April 2nd today says Canada decries Afghan sex laws. So we're now going to teach them what sex laws they should have. We're going to decide how they should treat their women. We're going to tell them whether they should have same-sex marriage, I suppose. Ultimately, what is in effect taking place is the imperial imposition of our morals and standards on another country. This, in effect, is a waste of time and money. And guess whose money it is? Where do you think the money comes from to keep the armed forces there at costs of billions of dollars a year? Just where do you think the money comes from? Is it from the taxation of American satellite automobile assembly plants in Ontario? No, it's not. Is it from the manufacturing sector of Ontario and Quebec and Bombardier? No, it's not. Because they don't give to Ottawa. And you know where it comes from? I'll tell you. It comes from Western Canadian resources, from Saskatchewan's oil and potash, from the wheat and the agricultural production of the western provinces. It comes from the resources of Alberta, even the terrible tar sands that everyone wants to shut down. So it's Western Canadian resources being expended to try and make Afghans into little Canadians. And it will never work. And the fact of the matter is, it's Western Canadians being forced to pay for this grandiose delusion of Ottawa that we're going to be the world's policemen, the world's educators, and the world's social workers to make everybody behave like we think they should. This is a total waste of time, but it's Canada's waste of time, but with our money. Now, I'm here to tell you that Western Canada could be a great nation. But what we have to do is provide for the schools, the hospitals, the medical system of Western Canadians with Western Canadian money. And it'll cost a lot less to do it than to try and set it up with Tim Hortons in Afghanistan. The fact of the matter is, we need to provide for schools and water treatment programs on Native Indian reserves in Western Canada, where there's a huge undergrowth of terribly frustrated youth who are going to end up in the cities of our major industrial centers, our cities of Western Canada. This is what we need to do. Our homeless in Western Canada need to be taken care of. There needs to be a solution to these problems because our economy and our society is deteriorating. It's about time that we began to legislate and to regulate and to provide the facilities for the development of Western Canadian society and culture, and forget about trying to become the world's policeman and solve the problems of Afghanistan and the rest of the world. Let Afghans decide how they want to treat their women in the way they decide they think is best for their culture. We are not actually morally endowed with perfection here, and until we are, it ill becomes us to become the moral advisors of the rest of the world. But Mr. Harper is no different than any other liberal Prime Minister. He's off playing God in the G20 whatever in London today, and it's not likely that he is, other than failing to show up for a photo shoot, going to make any history there. So, my friends in Western Canada, if we are to preserve the land, the future, the culture, and the prosperity of Western Canadians, it's up to us to do it. Don't think that Ottawa will ever change. Reform is impossible, and the Afghan war and all the waste it involves is another good reason to free the West and start to build our own nation in our own way with our own resources. So, my friends, let's work together with all those in Western Canada who want a future to free the West.